Hello everyone, and welcome back to Toku Toy Theory, where I take a look at toys from various tokusatsu series and try to figure out why they look and act the way they do. In this episode, I'll be looking at Kamen Drive type formula, as well as its associated shift cars and its weapon. So, let's begin. To start, we'll look at this type's transformation shift car, shift formula. So, as the name implies, this is based on a Formula 1 race car. It's primarily blue, white, and yellow with some black, although the black is actually meant to be ignored, as for a Formula 1 race car, the front nose of it is meant to be very narrow like this and then spreads out at the bumper, and is designed in such a way so that the black here is meant to be ignored and gives the illusion that it's thinner than it actually is, since this black part has to be here to fit the rail bar on the bottom. You can see it has racing stripes down the front, and the rider symbol on the nose. It also has two more rider symbols, one on each side, an open cockpit here, as well as the back canopy here, as well as the spoiler. You got these wings off to the side, as well as new wheels that are different from the ones on the Type Speed shift cars. And it even has the same style of tail lights as with the other shift cars, or the other type shift cars. So, of course, in lever mode, its symbol is the rider symbol. This transforms Kamen Drive into Type Formula. Design-wise, he's based on both a Formula 1 race car as well as a Formula 1 driver. Starting off with the helmet, you can see that it's primarily yellow to fit with the rear canopy of Shift Formula. And you can see the seat backing up here, as well as the racing stripes and the rider symbol on the front. You can see it has a new visor covering the normal eyes, which is meant to look like the visor on a race car helmet. It also has a spoiler extending out from the visor here at the back. Going down to the chest, you can see that the main armor on the chest is a compacted Formula 1 race car, with the nose being here, the bumper being out here. You have another spoiler back here, and then a booster here in the back. You'll also notice that it has various names written on it, and these are the names of the different shift cars that Drive can use, meant to resemble sponsor names or sponsor logos. And you'll notice that the rider symbol here is a bit different from how it's previously depicted, and that's because Type Formula is the first in the Advanced system, which seems to be a hybrid of the Drive and Next systems. Going down to the body, you can see that instead of having a big tire somewhere on the body, he now has two smaller tires, one on each wrist. And this does change up how the system works, as it allows him to use the tires he equips for a bit more physical combat, and allows him to use tires in different ways. You can see that he has new stripes on the side, which are meant to resemble these stripes on a racetrack. Then coming down to the lower legs, you can see that while he has the same knee pads as before, he has more sponsor names here on the shin guards. And he still has a lot of detail on the back. That's an interesting concept, because what you kind of get out of this is basically a bit of a silly look, but basically what you see here is kind of the image of a Formula 1 race car with the driver's head sticking out of the driver's seat right here, which is a bit silly to look at, but it's also pretty clever. And the armor itself even has its own engine to power the booster in the back, which kind of gives the idea of it being more powerful than before, or more powerful than the previous forms. Next, we'll look at Type Formula's tired Koukan shift cars, which can only be used by this form. Starting off with Shift Mantan F01. So, unlike the previous tired Koukan shift cars, which were based on other kind of vehicles, while these ones take the forms of vehicles, they're actually based on tools used to maintain a Formula 1 race car. For Shift Mantan, it's based on a gas pump. And you can see the canister is here in red. You have the nozzle on the front, and then the tube here in the back. Design-wise, these tired Koukan shift cars are also based on Formula 1 race cars, but each one also has little touches to fit their themes or their tools. In the case of Mantan, it's got a couple of gas canisters on the sides. You can see its symbol, F01, here on the front, as well as in lever mode, where you can see behind it the image of a gas pump.
Koukan!
This changes drive into Type Formula Mantan, equipping him with the Mantan F01 tires. A pair of tires, each with 8 gas caps on them, which can spin and also release flame jets to add as extra boosters when the booster on the back of this part doesn't cut it. And this is already known for being much faster than Type Speed is, so adding on this makes it even more fast, making this overall, with this attached, the fastest form that drive has. Next is Shift Jacky F02. So this one is primarily green and is based on a floor jack, and the name is based on the Japanese pronunciation of said kind of jack. You can see it actually has a pair of jacks, or rather a jack and a lever on the top. And similar to shift cars like Shift Technic and Shift Hooking Wrecker, this has a built-in gimmick where you can actually raise up the actual jack. And this kind of jack is used to raise up a Formula 1 race car in order to hold in place for maintenance all around, including the underside. And you can see there are also jack details here on the sides. And for the symbol, you can see F02 here, as well as on the front, and the image of a floor jack.
Koukan! Formula 02!
This changes drive into Type Formula Jacky, equipping him with the Jacky F02 tire, which is a single arm tire which is equipped with the Jacky Riser, a floor panel that can be extended and can actually go up to much greater lengths than this, since this is just a toy. But this can be used for both offensive purposes and defensive purposes, as it can be used to attack enemies from afar or defend from oncoming attacks. And finally we have Shift Spanner F03. This one is primarily yellow and is based on a spanner wrench, which is used to loosen or tighten all the bolts on a Formula 1 race car. Now, the thing to note about all these three is that, unlike the normal tired Koukan shift cars, that just use normal clear colors. These ones use metallic clear colors to give them that more special feel and give them the sense that they're all meant to go together as a set, but are separate from the other tired Koukan shift cars. So you can see the spanner wrench up here on the top of it, with the tightening end here and the loosening end here. And then you have various bolts on either side of the shift car. Then you have the F03 symbol here, and the image of a spanner wrench, as well as F03, here in lever mode.
Koukan! Formula 03!
This changes drive into Type Formula Spanner, giving him the Spanner F03 tire, which is equipped with the Grasper Claw, which can spin around to use the blades to attack opponents, or open and close to grab them. And because this only goes on one of the arms, just like with the Jacky F02 tires, it is hypothetically possible that Drive may have been able to use both of them at the same time, though that was never shown in the show. And finally, we have Type Formula's weapon, the Trailer-Hou, which translates to trailer cannon in English. Now, the interesting thing about this is that rather than taking the form of a vehicle part, this instead takes the form of an actual vehicle, in this case a racing trailer, which is meant to transport race cars from one racetrack to another. You can see that they definitely took a lot of time and effort into getting all the details it needs to have. You can see the front cap section, which is a little bit thinner than it should be, because this will become the handle for the weapon mode. You can see the cockpit here, the front grille there, some lights here and down here. Then you have the actual trailer section, where right here you can see all the different sponsor names, which are the names of the different shift cars, and each one is stylized very uniquely. You can also see the advanced system rider symbol, along with checker flag patterns on each side. Down at the bottom, you can see that this is an 8-wheeler. This has got a lot of nice detail here, along with a window for seeing inside, and this is, from what I know, accurate to racing trailers, or at least some of them. And no, I think they're probably like this so you can see what is inside, or at least see that it is loaded up. You also got the back door here, which can actually open, like so. And the idea I get from this is basically that this is more or less a shift weapon, which is to say an oversized shift car, which can also become a weapon. As you can see, it does fit in pretty well in scale to the normal shift cars, though perhaps it's a little bit big in terms of the scale. But they do go along quite well together. And this is further supported by its turn-on phrase.
Shift the Trailer-Hou!
As you could hear, it said shift the Trailer-Hou, which, is to suggest to shift it from trailer mode to cannon mode. But again, the word shift is important there, really implying that this is a shift car in the form of a weapon, or vice versa. So the first thing this can do is, like a trailer, this can actually store shift cars. So, put them in on the top slot here. Then you can see them in this window here via a set of mirrors. You can then open up the back to deploy it. Just like so. And there is even a lot of nice detail here, which does look like a ramp for a car to go up and down from. This can store up to 2 shift cars. And again, you can see them both stored inside. Additionally, you can simply set one down the ramp and have it smoothly roll out. You also see that you have the same details on the back, including the sponsors, though it's graded up on the back.
Shift the Trailer-Hou.
So, next we can press down this button and shift down the lever to change it into cannon mode. So herein, this part becomes the handle, where this becomes the barrel, and then the part where it fires from is here at the front. On its own, it has standard shots, but this can be powered up or enhanced via the use of a shift car on the dock up here. So, you plug one in, and it changes into Formula-Hou or Formula Cannon. This makes these shots more powerful. And you'd hear part of the transformation jingle for Type Formula in that sound, indicating that it has the power of Shift Formula and Type Formula. Then, you can activate the Hisatsu, which is done by inserting 2 shift cars. So, insert the first one, then insert a second, and you can see it says full inside. So, then you pull the trigger, and you can see a very nice light and sound effect, as it sounds like a race car going across the finish line on the final lap of race and then the crowd cheering, which is a very nice touch, indicating that in the case of this, the special attack is basically like a winning run of a race. And there we go. So, as we've seen in the past, for this form, the designers took a single concept, a pretty simple concept, and expanded on it to the fullest potential that it could be. Well, with the whole thing being based around Formula 1 racing, with the main shift car being based on the race car, the form being based on said car as well as the driver. The entire Koukan shift car is basically acting as the pit crew, and they're actually called that in the show, and them representing the different tools used to maintain a racer. And finally, the weapon being the actual trailer for a racing team. The whole thing is very well designed and very well put together, and really does show just how much I appreciate the design effort that the effort that went into designing these different riders and forms for the series. So, this leaves the second to last of the Drive series. Last up will be the final form. However, next time I'll be reviewing the Deluxe Yokai Chainsword from Yokai Watch. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe. And for now, this is KRX50, riding off.